Kalimera, kalispera, kalinichta. No matter where in this wild, wacky, and sometimes wonderful world you might be, thank you for making the Highbury Squad part of your day. Big match this weekend and a special one to boot. We have a couple of my favourite humans in the house. Let's rock and roll, kids.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.
Alrighty, welcome back to Squad Central, and I am delighted to welcome two of my favourite podcasters, YouTubers, broadcasters, call them what you want. It's Baz and Ped from Toffee TV. Welcome back to Squad Central.
Thank you very much for inviting me, or inviting us, rather.
How's it going? How are you boys doing? Big news for your club today.
Ped?
Yeah. It's exciting, but it is tempered slightly. We've done this once before, and it didn't work out well. So we're just keeping our powder dry. I think we have got like a beautiful stadium that's getting handed over to us next week as well. Obviously, we can't use it till next season. So that's sort of like the handover gift from Farhad Moshiri to the Freakins, and obviously that's why they're buying the club as well, mostly because, I mean, anyone who's seen the images of it or the videos of it, it does look absolutely amazing. And it looks absolutely amazing at the moment because all the lights are on, and obviously it's very dark and it's just got that feeling about it. Obviously with Christmas and lights and December, obviously they're putting the lights on, it looks amazing. So that is sort of like the farewell gift from Farhad Moshiri. And if he's done anything in his time at Everton, then obviously getting us a new stadium is the thing, and hopefully the Freakins can take us forward. But as I said, I am just sort of waiting to see what happened rather than getting really excited.
It's so funny, isn't it? Like when you've been wounded and you don't want to get too excited about anything, you kind of just don't want to, like, almost, it's like that relationship where you're like, man, she's so hot, I like her, we're going out, but you just don't want to go there. You know, you don't want to start thinking about this is the one and all that jazz. Before, speaking of this is the one, here's my guy, Mr. Judges. Oh, he looks like he's just got back from training or playing five-a-side.
I haven't been. I've been out today. Like traffic. What's going on with the traffic at the moment? Like, you know, it's a nightmare. Like, you know, so
Christmas.
I don't know.
Christmas traffic.
Christmas time.
Lee,
welcome to Squad Central. I was just talking to the boys because I've never, new owners, and the two of them, I don't know if it's a Scouse thing or whatever it is, but the excitement, the decibels, they're so like here. It's really weird. They've been hurt too much, Lee. They've been hurt too much. They're waiting. They're just waiting.
And let's hope that they're good owners. That's all I'll say. Like, you know what I mean? So we want Everton doing well, don't we?
Yeah.
We took our last owner off you lot, and he was an absolute nightmare.
Oh, and we listen.
You had a lucky escape.
Oh, we did, and I'll tell you what. And I know this is why I don't really go too much. I was desperate for him to be taken over at Arsenal. It was, you know what I mean. So you got to be so careful what you wish for. I know exactly that, like, you know. So I bit of a traditionalist. I like the owners that were sort of at the club, you know, the Hillwoods and all that, you know, that were at the club all that time. I don't like all this being taken over by Americans. But listen, that's the way it's gone now, isn't it, with football? It's a shame, but that's what it is. So I don't mean that in a nasty way. Anyway, you're Greek. So like, you're all right.
I am Greek, but I do live in the United States.
Yeah,
and
it's nothing against Americans. It's just
but
the traditional stuff, you know what I mean?
Listen, John Henry's been a great owner for Liverpool.
Yeah.
The Cronkies, I think, are one of the best owners in the Premier League now, and a lot of Arsenal fans do not like it when I say that. Forget the Glazers. We'll park them to one side. Aston Villa Are Aston Villa owned by Americans?
Yeah, they are. Yeah, yeah.
Right? I mean, they're not doing too badly. They gave Emery the keys to the kingdom. I actually think of all the ownership groups, this one to me is very exciting. And maybe that's only because I know of the Friedkins from the entertainment industry. The fact that, you know, they like to take gambles. The businesses that they own, very interesting, very diverse. I mean, I'll let the Evertonians talk about what they feel they've done for Roma. But if I was an Everton fan, I would be
Optimistic.
very excited about them taking over. That, you know, just my 2 cents.
Yeah, no, it is exciting, but like Ped said, we were very excited when Farah and it never played out. I mean, the legacy is the stadium. The stadium's incredible, and obviously, the world will get to see that next season.
Have you been? Have you guys done a site visit yet?
No. We've been promised it for 2 years. It's next week. It's always next week. But
right,
they're waiting for a win.
Don't bother. Wait until it's open. Wait.
Yeah, just wait till it's open. No, yeah.
I actually think that, you know, even though you guys have struggled for the last few seasons and worrying about relegation, as an Everton fan, just let's kick this off because it's something we talk to Super Kev about. It seems to me like this year, with Southampton being so bad, you know, the other teams down there, Wolves are struggling. There's a few teams struggling. It feels like, Baz, that you guys might just be fine this season.
Yeah, I'll be honest, so there's no reason why Everton shouldn't be halfway up. The squad's far better than it's shown. We feel like we've played ourselves into this conversation when last season, without points deductions, Everton got 48 points. Everton finished above Brighton without points deductions, way above Forest, way above Brentford, way above Fulham. And none of them clubs ever mentioned relegation. But our manager, for whatever reason, I don't know whether it's the box he likes to live in, the comfort of it, basically put us, in his words, sort of back in a relegation fight this year. And me personally don't understand it. But the way it's played out, we haven't won enough games, and that's why we're down where we are. And we deserve to be there because we've won 3 games of football.
So let me ask you guys this question, because Lee, you know, you get the new manager bounce. I'm hoping that they don't get the new owner bounce this weekend. I'm not sure if there's been a new owner bounce in the Premier League. You guys can help me with that one. But Sean Dyche, much maligned. I don't know, from the outside looking in, because I'm going to ask these guys from the outside looking in on Arsenal. So I want your perspective firstly is, to me, feels like he's holding this team back. It feels like there's this wave of like new managers, right, that are coming in. Modern football's taking a turn. I don't want to say Mikel Arteta started the revolution, because he didn't. Pep Guardiola started a revolution. However, with this managerial tree from Pep Guardiola, you know, you've got Arteta, you've got Maresca, you've got the new kid on the block coming in from Portugal in Amorim. You've got all these exciting young managers with new ideas. To me, it feels like Everton, when I was growing up, and I loved watching them in the 80s, I loved watching that team. They were always fun to watch, always exciting football. Seems to me like Dyche, the dinosaur, is holding them back. What does it look like for you looking in as we approach this game?
Oh, like, you know,
Does that mean? Was that too mean?
Yeah, I think it was a little bit too mean. I think that first and foremost, from the outside looking in, I think he done an unbelievable job last season. From whatever was going on at the football club, I think he done really well. It was like, you know, in the trenches, get the old tin hats on, and I thought he done fantastically well. Now this season you want them then to kick on, and I think that's the frustration in it with the Everton fans, that there was hopefully going to be a kick on, and there hasn't been. I don't think the transfer window was a great one for Everton. You know, I think that, you know, Arsenal fans moaning about transfer windows, I think Everton had something to really moan about, like, you know, sort of like a little bit down in the end, a bit of desperation that they need attacking players. They need some players with a bit of flair that's going to get that organisation and then something a little bit different and all that, like, you know. And
Mm.
I think defensively they're pretty good. You know, the 2 games that I have, I've watched, and I thought, right, come on, Everton, get the result against Tottenham and Man United. They've been bloody disappointing in both games for me. Like, the 2 games that you want really Everton to win, desperately win. But yeah, so I feel that with Dyche, I don't know how you guys feel about it. He seems to like, I don't know if it is, but he seems to be swimming against the tide all the time with everything that's going on. But what I think Everton fans want is a little bit of entertainment as well. Like, I think that's something that you've always felt with Everton is that, listen, it's always been a tough place to go. It's certainly a lot tougher when Dyche is there. But if you get in front, you feel like you might get the result. But I quite like him as a manager, as a person, like personality. Like, now you're going to hit me with, yeah, I do. But then if you said, like, do you want him to run your football club? I'll probably go no. That's the difference, isn't it? Like, but I genuinely do like him. I think he's horses for courses sort of a guy. I think last season he was the man you needed. I don't care what anybody says. Last season, the man you needed. This season, show a little bit more. Come on, I know that you've got a few players. I think that the board needs to just sign a couple, and I don't know if that's him or not. Sign a few players that are going to excite the fans, get them up and going. With all his defensive side, when you look at what he's done at Burnley, he's got a bigger opportunity to flex his managerial muscle a little bit, and I think he's being restricted a little bit from himself or whatever. Like, you're at a big club, go and make them great again, like, but
make Everton great again.
Yeah,
a mega.
Look, listen, they're great. You know what I mean? I don't mean that disrespectful. You know what I mean?
No, it's true though. I
want Everton up there, above Liverpool. You know what I mean? And giving it every single time, because I've got I'm got a soft spot for Everton, like, but I just think, like, maybe somewhere along the line, can I be horrible and say this? He's not going to get a bigger, better job than Everton. So make use of it. That's what I'd say.
Exactly. And I'm going to swing this one to Ped, because I see what you're saying, Lee, and sometimes you need managers to come in and do what they have to do. And in order for us to get to the Arsenal game and understand a little bit of where maybe they can hurt us, I wanted to have this Everton conversation just a little bit. And also, of course, because for all the reasons you guys know why. Ped, to me, it feels like you've been eating meat and potatoes for a while, right? But you travel a little out and you want to taste different food, a little bit of sizzle, little bit of spice. Feels like your club is ready for the sizzle and the spice, and you're done with meat and potatoes.
I don't even think we've been eating meat and potatoes. So I'll be honest with you, I can't bear them. I'll be honest, I can't bear them, and I can't lie. I just can't bear the fella. I can't bear that we've got him as our manager. I just think he doesn't understand the football club one bit. Everything Lee said there about never getting a better job. He's never going to get anywhere near a football club like Everton, never again. And he shouldn't be allowed anywhere near a football club like Everton, never again. Because the way he looks at our football club, I have a saying. It's like he lives out of a suitcase. He's never bought into the. He could have this job and make it his own if he really wanted to. If he really bought into the club and the ethos, and fans aren't particularly. We're not stupid. No football fan's stupid who watches football regularly. They understand the limitations of their own football club. They just want honesty, and they want someone who they feel like is on their side. And I don't think we've ever felt like this fella's on his side. He's on his own side. He's on his own side to do a good job, so he can leave the football club and go somewhere else and get another good job, or get a job that suits what he has. And that just really grates on me. He can't stop talking about the job in the past tense of why it is where it is. It's all because of something that happened before he got to the club, which is true. But this season, he had a bit of a clean slate. Now, as Baz mentioned before, he loves talking us into a relegation fight. And I can't have that. I just can't have that. This football club has expectations, of course, but none of us are stupid. but expectations have to come from having standards, and he does not embody the standards of Everton Football Club, in my opinion. So I can't have this fella anywhere near. In my eyes, he's gone. He's done. He's good. He's done in my eyes. He's done. He's like Klopp this time last year. He's already said he's going, and in my mind, he's gone, because whether he goes now or goes at the end of the season, he's gone. And I'm planning for the next manager who's going to take us forward, who's going to plan out a long-term vision. And there's all little things, and Baz knows what I'm talking about. Little things like young players being sat on the bench, 4-0 up last week, opportunity to give a couple of players get on the pitch. No. Save that for Old Trafford when you're 4-0 down, not 4-0 up at Goodison last week. I can't buy into any of that. So this fella to me is done and dusted. I want him gone as quick as he can go out the door. Because he's just, how do you finish with 48 points? As Baz mentioned, all those teams that we finished above, and immediately you're telling everybody we're in a relegation fight. What does that say to your fan base? What does that say? It's like this. There's like a slogan at Everton this season, which is it's like a Brexit slogan. It's stay up, get into the stadium. And that is from the club, by the way. That is like, we've heard people who are high up in the football club tell us that directly to our face. Stay up, get to the new stadium. It's like, hang on, yeah, we're getting a new stadium, great, but so you're going to go into the stadium by staying up by the skin of your teeth? What kind of message is that? Because you're suddenly then asking everybody to pay a lot more money to go to this new stadium, and you haven't moved the football club on to where the next sort of preparing for the next stage. So no, I'm done. I understand how it does look from outside of the club. But for me, his time can't come to an end quick enough.
I completely concur with you, because also from a communications point of view, that's my jam. And to me, he seems like a non-Evertonian person. The way he speaks, the way he carries himself, the way he talks after games. And there's always, I don't know what it is with him, but it's almost subliminally that it's passive aggressive, like he's always blaming somebody else as opposed to taking accountability and responsibility for his actions. So let me ask you guys this before we get into the game a little bit, because there was that time where Mikel Arteta, Ancelotti, you guys ended up with Ancelotti. We got Mikel Arteta. Who is the guy? Who is the next guy who's your ideal Everton manager other than Mikel?
Me?
Yeah. Go on, Baz.
Well, I think we might say, I think right now what we need, me and Pep might say a very similar man who is managing in London at the moment. I think maybe the ideal man for Everton right now. I'm not saying we could get him.
Can I say it? Is it Thomas Frank?
It is Thomas Frank.
I'm not saying we could get him because he's had a good...
We could get him, of course we could get him. At Everton Football Club, of course we could get him. We just knock on the door.
You'd have to pay him.
Drive a taxi down and say, get in this fella. And he'd come. Of course he'd come. Stop it, Baz. You've drunken the Dice Kool-Aid there.
No, I'll never drink that, ever. Even if it was the last drink.
You've drunk it.
Even if it was the last drink on it.
Thomas Frank is... short-term, medium-term, long-term manager, as far as I'm concerned, as an Everton fan. I think he ticks all the boxes, and I just really like how calm he is, and how I like his I just like his method of football. I know his away record isn't great. Well, he got a point to Goodison, but his away record isn't great, but his home record's unbelievable. And I know you guys have got to go down there in a couple of weeks, I think. So yeah, for me, it's Thomas Frank, and it might be one where that might be the end of the season, because you do feel like he is the kind of person who say, no, I'm not moving mid-season. I've got too much respect for the club I'm at right now, and I get that, and that's part of the reason I actually like him. I actually like the fact that he'd probably make us wait till the end of the season. I think that's a big respect factor, but I just think he comes across brilliantly, and I think for him, I think we'd logically be the next step. And I know people maybe who aren't as old as us might look and go, well, Brentford are doing brilliantly, but this is Everton Football Club, and we are on the next rung of the ladder for someone like Thomas Frank. And I think maybe those other jobs are just a little bit away from him right now. I know he was talked about Manchester United, but I think we'd be the perfect place for him to take on the next stage of his football career.
I agree with that. I can see that. I could totally see that. Right. Let's get stuck into the game. Judges, what a season for the Arsenal. And I can't wait to hear the lads kind of outsider, insider perspective on us, because it seems like one week the sky's falling. The next week it's like, you know, you're Stoke, which is just like, I just can't stand any of it, to be honest. Set piece FC, Stoke FC. Then you get 3 goals from open play. But you also have this young man who is playing absolutely at another level. And let me tell you guys, you're not going to want to be late for the game tomorrow if you're lucky enough to be going to the Emirates. Bukayo Saka will be presented his Player of the Month award. And beautiful moment it's going to be, because this was one of Super Kev's favourite players. Kevin's sister will be presenting Bukayo with his award, which is going to be a really beautiful moment. And he is playing, Lee. I think when people keep questioning this boy, man, his levels, everyone keeps asking who's Arsenal's most important player, who's Arsenal's best player. Of course, Odegaard, we know he's the engine, he's the vehicle, he's the 5th gear. But Bukayo is the heartbeat of this team. Talk to me.
Yeah, listen, I thought he was quiet on Wednesday by his standards, and he still scored 2 goals. You know what I mean? So that just shows you how good he is. I do think he's something special. You know, listen, I've been fortunate enough to see a lot of Arsenal great players and all that, and he's up there with them. I really do, like, you know, from the players that he excites you. He is a professional. He's not one of these forward players that gets on players' nerves and you think like winds other fans up or whatever. And we've all had them, and all. I'll be honest, I've loved those sort of players as well. I'm not, you know, I'll be honest, but I think that he's just an absolute wonder kid, or older now, like, you know. And I think that's unbelievable that he's got the credit he deserves. I didn't know he got the Player of the Year a month award, like, you know. Normally, like, they give everybody but him. But
I think it's the Player of the Month. There is an award that is, you know, this is Lorna, Kevin's sister, who kind of gave me a deep. There's something big happening on Monday as well. Another announcement that's happening as part of the Kevin Campbell Foundation, and one of the mentions was she's giving Bukayo an award. So it might be
like the Arsenal Player of the Month, mightn't it? Like,
yeah, the Arsenal Player of the Month. Yeah.
So, but yeah, you ain't going to argue with that. He's just a sensational player. And what is the greatest thing about it is that, you know, Monaco and probably Everton to do it tomorrow. They'll double up on him. And he'll still find a way. And that's the thing that I admire about him, is that he finds a way. He might not be at his scintillating best because, you know, teams are stopping him. If they're not stopping him, they're stopping his supply and things like that. But he still finds a way to do something. So, yeah, and that's fantastic. And you know, Lorna giving out the award, which makes it a special thing. Listen, tomorrow for me is a special game. Without a doubt, like, you know, and I know it's been dubbed as the Kevin Campbell derby, and that's how it should be now. Like, you know, for me, going up to Everton, the same. It should be known as the Kevin Campbell day. Like, you know,
he labelled that himself. Whenever the fixture would come on and we'd talk about it, goes, South, it's the Kev Campball derby. I mean,
listen, he didn't really enjoy these games, did he? Because, you know, he always felt that if there was a winner, he was a loser, and if he was a loser, he was a winner. Like, you know, it was just a weird thing for him. Like, you know, yeah, and I'm glad it sort of got that thing of it now. Like, I was speaking to Everton fans earlier today, and they still say when Everton score now, they sing his name, and, you know what I mean, that's just incredible. You know, so it'd be a very emotional, I think more emotional going to Goodison than at the Emirates. I don't know how the Everton boys feel about that, but I just feel like for us, it's just a special day tomorrow. It's a day, I don't know, I've been looking forward to and dreading, you know what I mean? Like, I'm sort of saying, like, there's always little reminders now that come out, and you know, you know, I'm gonna lie, you always look for the Arsenal Spurs fixture, and when we're playing Man City, but Everton was very quick on the list to have a look at when we're playing Everton, like, and I'm glad that it was not at the beginning of the season. It's some more now because it doesn't. It's a little bit easier, I suppose. For me, I don't know how everybody feels about it, but that's how I feel. But then, like, you got Christmas coming up, like, you know, we'd always chat over at Christmas, and then of course, like in February, it's his birthday. So there's all different, but and then like the Everton game again. But so in a way, I think once it's not so raw, I think it'd be always great to have that. And as far as I'm concerned, it's the Kevin Campbell derby, and
it totally is. It is, and his whole family, his members of his family, going to be there tomorrow. I think it's a beautiful thing. I was going to save this bit till the end, but seeing as we're here, we may as well just go with it. You know, it's going to be. I think it's wonderful that the two clubs have got together. I think it's awesome that Arsenal put this billboard up. I know, Lee, you were there the other day, and you got your pic taken in front of it. I know that he would be stoked that we four are talking about the game today because he loved Baz and Ped very much and was a huge supporter of Toffee TV. And Alan Myers couldn't be here tonight, but he sends his love to everybody. And it you know, Kev would be a competitor right now. He wouldn't want he would want everyone putting their game face on. And as much as he loved Everton in these fixtures, the truth is he wanted Arsenal to win, but he didn't want Everton to lose. But in the end, if there had to be a winner, of course, it was Arsenal. He was an Arsenal lad. But how is this game being looked at from your guys' perspective, Ped?
I mean, it's funny because it's I don't know how Baz feels, but it's hard to single this game out. It was put in a block of, because obviously we were supposed to play the Merseyside derby last week. We play Chelsea at home next week, and we play Manchester City on Boxing Day. So those four fixtures, and obviously we played Manchester United at the beginning of the month, and then we had Wolves. So the fixtures of this month just look absolutely horrific. So it's been put as a block of fixtures rather than focusing on the one game. It's been really difficult to go, well, we've got Arsenal, but then after, and it's been really hard to say, well, it's never just Arsenal, but it's always hard to look at the Emirates and think we're going to get 3 points. Because we never have, apart from lockdown, which I don't know what you guys, but I just don't think that was a real season in hindsight. Every game looks like a training game. I know at the time it felt real, but now none of it looks real.
The Liverpool asterisks.
Well, sort of, yeah. I mean, we won the derby at Anfield as well. So with that, we're keeping that one.
That one's staying. The Emirates are staying. Shut up, the Emirates are staying.
The Emirates.
We never ever win there.
White Hart Lane. We're keeping that one as well. Because we haven't beaten them there.
Brilliant.
Yeah. So it was it's going to be a really difficult game, and yeah, obviously you've got you've got to factor in obviously how people feel about Kev. I don't think for us we've already had obviously so many tributes to Kev at Goodison. I don't think this one will factor in as much because we've already had so many tributes. I really hope that the billboard that's been put up at the Emirates, we will have something very similar when we play you guys, so it's a consistent thing. That would be really good. And obviously we did have the banner of Kev outside for the summer and obviously the first couple of games of the season. So we've already had a lot of that. So I think obviously it's different for you guys with it being, this will be the first chance, and I'm sure it'll be obviously something will be, because obviously there's a lot of things that have been planned for Goodison this season, game by game, certainly for the second half of the season as well. So I'm sure for that game, Everton will make sure it's a massive day, and Kev as a player is remembered once again, with a little bit more distance between actually his passing and that game, and it can become more of a celebration rather than anything else. So
I feel like this is what it is. I was there for the home game where it was the first game where they recognised Kev. It feels like this is from what I gather is the two clubs coming together just to show the love and to celebrate. And if at his service, it was certainly a celebration of life. It certainly wasn't anything other than that. And yesterday I got a couple of pictures. I didn't have time to post them, but I'll share them with you guys. The Dickie Bow event that went ahead yesterday, which everyone loved, and it was really well supported, and everyone had a great time with that. And then through the foundation, there's a couple of announcements coming up in the next week. Again, it's pure celebration of this character, this guy. So you well said, and that's kind of, I think, how people are seeing this in particular for the game tomorrow as well, is just a pure celebration of Super Kev's life. So,
yeah, absolutely. And it's at Everton at the moment, as we've already mentioned, there's just so much going on at the moment. It feels like there's so much going on, and with these three games now, obviously with the derby being cancelled, it's I know, and Basil shared this. It's just, we're just in a moment in time now where you're just waiting for things to happen. Obviously, the takeover to be absolutely ratified. Then there'll be a knock-on effect to the pressure being on the manager, because a lot of us would have liked to have seen the manager replaced earlier, but because of the vacuum of power at the top of the football club, no one was going to ever sack him. Machiri checked out a long time ago, an absolute long time ago. God knows where he is. So we've been waiting for someone to come in and fill that power void, really, at the football club. And having these 3 games, and thinking about where we're going to be after these 3 games, something needs to happen really quickly at this football club. So this is now the first. It would have been the second. Now it's the first. So we're just hoping for something tomorrow, something to just fall our way and just get through these games one by one.
The storm that prevented the Merseyside derby. So let's talk about things that we're scared of, or things that you're scared of, and then Lee can share anything that maybe Everton, that we might be scared of relating to Everton. Baz, of course, Saka is a danger. I mentioned our set piece, and I would love your opposition view. North Banksy paying homage to Nicholas Yova, who's now made the illustrious Hall of Fame outside the Emirates. I mean, we are ruthless, but we did score 3 goals from open play as well. What from your perspective, what are you afraid of us, and what do you think if we should be afraid of you? Because a lot of Arsenal fans walking into this might be thinking 3 points, but it's never easy. What should we be afraid of?
What you should be afraid of? I thought when you asked me what we should be afraid of, the answer's everything. With Arsenal, to be perfectly honest. Well, Everton, the set piece things really sort of come to the fore, hasn't it? 57% of Everton's goals this season have come from set pieces. So, we don't score a lot in open play, which is quite ironic, really, that Arsenal are getting stick, even though they're just really good at set plays as well. In fact, they're brilliant. They're absolutely brilliant. I think Arsenal, from our perspective, and me and Ped do a general football show as well, so obviously we're always looking at Arsenal Premier League and Arsenal in the Champions League. I still scratch my head as to why. Well, 2 things really. A, why they didn't buy Amadou Onana. I still think he was perfect for Arsenal's midfield, personally. But I also I'm struggling to understand why they didn't buy a proper centre forward as well. Because I think could have been Ivan Toney, because I think he had I know there's different things, but I think if Arsenal had an Ivan Toney, Watkins are really light, but at the age to get it and that. But I just think if Arsenal had that sort of number 9, Havertz has done brilliantly, but a number 9 who gets the goals, I think Arsenal wouldn't be in the position they're in, as in they'd be a lot closer to Liverpool, because this was with City dropping off, you would have just expected Arsenal to do what Liverpool are doing. And I know they got a cluster of injuries and that knackered them for a few games, but when I look at Arsenal, they still frustrate me slightly that they haven't got that striker right through the middle. Arsenal should be worried from an Everton perspective of, it really is just the set plays, so that's really it, because what we do, it's like what you said before. My feeling is this team can play a lot better and more attacking, but the manager doesn't allow it. So we're basically a direct Route 1 team. And you've got Saliba, and I read Mikel Arteta saying Gabriel's trained today and he's expected to play as well tomorrow, and they're 2 tremendous centre halves. So you've got those 2 up against Calvert-Lewin it'll be. And Everton just simply don't get enough people around Dominic Calvert-Lewin. And so tomorrow it'll probably be the old 2 banks of 4. Everton will play a 4-5-1. And it'll be just try to keep Arsenal out and spring a counter-attack. But Everton's problem with a counter-attack is they haven't really got any pace. And Arsenal are very quick. So it doesn't sort of work. So it will come back to corners. The back post corner from Dwight McNeil to Tarkowski. Look out for that one. Because we beat Wolves 4-0 last week. We scored 3 from set plays. We had another one disallowed from a set piece as well. You know, we could have won 8 or 9-0 in the end, but that was very much the exception to the rule because it hasn't been like that. So it will be a case of Arsenal have to look out for set pieces, but conversely, Everton will have to look out for Arsenal's, which are far more inventive.
Lee, set piece versus set piece.
Yeah.
I think, to be fair, you have got a lot more than just set pieces, though, in all honesty.
Yeah. That's a fair step. That's a very fair statement. Lee, we can't take anything for granted. We've seen our team kind of play up and down this season. I know you've kind of talked about, you've kind of gone off, but been measured as well at times. We've had injuries, we've had red cards. We also don't want to make excuses. We've been in this fight for like, this is our 3rd season now. Can't take advantage of Manchester City. Who would have thought? This is why I don't think it's over. Who'd have thought they were on 1 game in 10? Who saw that coming? Who's to say Liverpool can't go on a blip? Who's to say they won't have injuries? It's early. It's December. No league, no title is won in this period. These are the games, though, Lee, that we absolutely have to win.
Yeah, look, listen, I'll be really honest. I was disappointed last Sunday. I come away from Craven Cottage feeling like it was a defeat because we didn't flex our muscles in that game. Liverpool not playing, it was a perfect opportunity to just bang a bit of pressure on them, you know. Now, listen, they might crumble, they might cave, but the one thing you've got to do is put pressure on them so that they do like Man City done to us a couple of years ago. You make sure you can feel them at the back of your neck, like, you know, make them feel uncomfortable. They had it easy. Not only did they have a nice rest, they must have been laughing. So I was disappointed last week, like, you know. Now I know that Everton fans don't want Liverpool to win the league, but they're not like Tottenham that are going to come here and give up this game, like, you know. They're not going to do that, like, you know. Proper football,
we would,
you know,
just
what I mean?
not this month.
Yeah, normally, no problem.
So we listen. I think if I'm Everton, I don't, and I think there was a little bit in it with Fulham last week where Fulham haven't played like they played against us when they just dropped off and played deep and defended and tried to hit us on a counter attack or whatever. I think that Everton will do that, and it'll be like the one thing that I'm pretty sure the team talk could be, look, let's try and frustrate these for as long as we can. The longer this game goes on, the more we've got a chance of winning this game. Frustrating the fans, which is true. We'll be a little bit nervous going into the game. Make them nervous, make them edgy, and hopefully Arsenal will make a mistake and we can capitalise on it. That's what the game plan's going to be. Listen, that's nothing against that. You know, like Fulham done that last week, and we didn't have enough answers for it. Like, you know, for me, we got to score early. If we score early, I think we'd be all right. Pickford always does well against us, so he always makes good saves. So we're going to have to be a little bit more clinical with our finishing than what we was on Wednesday, because I'll tell you this now, because it's a different game, and I always think with the Champions League at the moment, you're playing with, you've got the safety net there. I'll tell you that if that's 1-0 to us and we're missing those sort of chances against Everton, that will be a nervous place, you know what I mean? Like, because you can't afford to do that, because you know that Everton might bite you with something and everything like that. And, you know, a couple of years ago, they done it at Goodison. They got the goal and they stifled.
We were so bad. It was so bad.
It was so bad. But, you know, a lot of that's down to what these teams do now. Everton probably one of the first teams to do it. They defended deep and banks of 4, and we couldn't break it down. And all of a sudden, like, you know, we're full of that. And I think that, listen, I think if you be really honest, and I don't care if you're an Everton fan, Fulham fan, or whatever, like, you know, if you want to come, say, like, for instance, Everton come out there and go free for all tomorrow, like they're going to get beat.
Yeah,
it's 100%.
Yeah.
They've got to do something different. So when these teams come here and they waste time and they defend deep and all that, I understand that, because they've got to do that. Otherwise, they're going to get, they've got to find different ways. And it's up to us now to find a different way of breaking them down, like, And I think that, we should win tomorrow, but like, I just don't know with Arsenal at this minute. And so I have to say, the thing he should be doing tomorrow is playing Timber at right back, Skelly at left back. But he's not going to do that. He's going to put Timber over on the left and he's going to play Thomas Partey. That he's going to do that. And I just feel that we might get away with it, like, but eventually it's going to bite us on the old backside, like, hopefully not.
I think if we do get away with it, Lees, because we got more players that have that X factor that could do something special out of nothing. And
yeah, we have got that. But they haven't been doing it, though. We had without being.
Saka did.
Yeah, Saka done it on Wednesday. He didn't do it against Fulham, and nor did any of them.
He did, but it was.
I did jump up when he scored against Fulham. I must admit, when I seen him score.
Oh, no, like
I was such a waste of energy, man. I ran down the street. I was out the door before I could even see the line.
Do you know what? I'll still say this now. When they said like it was offside, I said he can't be offside. He come from behind. My eyes ain't deceiving. And then they said, "Oh no, it's Martinelli," and I had no thought that was going to be, And listen, Everton fans would have been like jumping up, as you say they were. The Liverpool fans would have been throwing things at the telly, thinking, "Oh, this is pressure and all that," and then going mad about it afterwards.
Or Martinelli. Football. I've never seen a player eviscerated so much for being offside. Jesus, I mean,
unbelievable.
In the end, he put in a ball that we've been craving. Like, what a ball, right? It was beautiful, pinpoint. And I reckon Everton fans would think, like, I'll take Martinelli. I'd love a player like Martinelli.
Take him, I'd make him the captain and the manager.
And the CEO.
Yeah.
but Ped, then who's your, I mean, I put this up here because I really wanted, I've defended Martinelli. I've done 2 shows now about the fact that Arsenal fans always want to make have a scapegoat. The time, it was 2 months ago where they were calling us boring Arsenal, Martinelli again. It was Xhaka one season. It was Zinchenko last season. It's Jesus now, but Martinelli's the one that's really getting it in the neck. And I still feel like he can be dangerous. Yes, should he look up more? Should he pass the ball quicker? He's got some things that his game should have improved on by now. But, I mean, from the outside looking in, what's your thought on, because sometimes I think, not that we're spoiled, right? And we've got such great players. And I was thinking, wow, like Martinelli in this Everton team would be unbelievable.
Well, you're not spoiled. You've built a good team. That's not being spoiled. You've genuinely, organically built and bought, and with youth development, you have a good team. There's nothing wrong with that. We're literally the opposite of that. We are a club that have destroyed our own opportunities, and any young players that we've had to sell. We can't buy good, talented players because we don't have the money. And when we do have good players, like Baz mentioned, some like Onana, they're always going to be looking for the next step. Branthwaite will be the next one out the door, regardless of whether we get, the takeover goes through or not. So I don't think you should be embarrassed or worried about that. Martinelli is, someone like Martinelli, he's just the next one you have to improve on, isn't it? That's obvious. Like, so to me, I look at that, and that's what the point Baz was making before was, I think when you look at Arsenal from the outside in, you can't quite understand why some of those players weren't improved on in the summer. Like, why you didn't go and get an out-and-out striker who would put the ball in the back of the net in a game like Fulham, where Manchester City went and got Haaland because they knew that's what they were missing. I'm not saying you could have got Haaland, but certainly. So Martinelli's the next one that I think you will have to. So last year it was in Nketiah, wasn't it? It was like he was the
Smith Rowe and Nketiah.
Yeah, people were oohing and ahhing about that.
Stole that money from Palace.
Exactly. So you'll do the same with Martinelli. You'll sell him to the next club on the block, which will probably be Fulham again, or someone like that, or West Ham, and then you'll improve on that. And I think that's just how you get to the top, isn't it? Except the problem is, for the last 4 or 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years, Man City have been able to do that really, really quickly. Whereas everybody else, it feels like it drags. But of course, now we're all limited by PSR. So in the old days, in old money, you'd go and find the next one. You'd replace him, and it felt easier in the old days because you only had 1 or 2 subs, so it was a very easy, organic thing to do. But now sometimes with the bench and everything, it all gets a little bit lost. So, of course, Martinelli would look amazing in Everton's team. Of course he would. Anyone who plays for Arsenal would look amazing. Smith Rowe would have been a brilliant signing for Everton. And normally we would have been the kind of club to have been able to take that, to take the Manchester United offcast, to take the Manchester City offcast. But unfortunately, where we are now is we can't even do that anymore. And we've had to look in a completely different market and buy the kind of players we would have never wanted to have gone by. And it makes, I suppose for us, we're looking at the next stage going, do you know what? There was a few plays we missed out on there. That maybe now we will be able to buy, and we'll be able to become a team like Fulham or whoever, who can build a decent team off everyone's offcast, because the gap between you guys and everybody else is getting bigger and bigger. So the quality drop off actually is perfect for us in many ways. So we have to get ourselves to that level. So that's where, when you're looking for a danger man from us, it's really, really difficult to say, oh, this fellow will do amazing, or that fellow will do amazing. McNeil's set pieces will be a big thing tomorrow. He has got, a lethal left foot in terms of set plays, and if he can get a little bit of a space to get a shot off from the right-hand side. And Ndiaye is actually a really quality player, but unfortunately, and I think he'd look really good in a side like Arsenal coming off the bench. I think he'd be really good. But unfortunately for us, he doesn't, because of the manager, it's a very rigid setup. He plays on the left-hand side, and he doesn't get himself in those areas. Again, Baz was talking before, being just behind the centre forward. If you could have that, they used to say like the 2 centre forwards or a number 10, like almost like the invisible string between them. If you could get Ndiaye in that invisible string between him and Dominic Calvert-Lewin, you'd have a really good setup there. But under this manager, it's just never going to happen, because he's not ambitious enough and doesn't believe in the rest of the players. So Ndiaye, when he's on the ball, I think a few Arsenal fans tomorrow go, oh God, he looks all right. And us, as I said, McNeil's set pieces are really, really good, but there isn't enough variation. There's not enough cleverness. We are let's whack it to the back post. Can you deal with Tarkowski? If you can, fine. If you can't, then maybe there'll be a bit of a danger. We don't have that variation in set pieces like you guys do. We don't have that dedicated set piece coach who's looking for all the little fine margins, running the opposition's team all over the place to set up that little bit of space for Gabriel. We don't have that. We are very straight to the point when it comes to our set pieces, and when it works, it's great. But this season hasn't really worked, and it actually took a team as poor as Wolves to finally see something different.
Yeah. Okay. So let's get everyone's kind of predictions and nutshell comments on. For me, it's really funny because I think Arsenal fans are having a meltdown because Arne Slot has stepped up, and albeit, yes, he's inherited a great side, at least 4 world-class players, title-ready championship, winning team. I mean, last year they fell off. They get away with it. No one wants to throw darts at Liverpool. But Maresca at Chelsea, I think, is the one that is irking Arsenal fans the most, Lee. I think you would agree with me. If Chelsea weren't performing the way they were, and Slot and Liverpool weren't performing the way they were, but I think that's got under fans' skin, and they're starting to question Mikel Arteta if he's the right guy for the job. And, there's a long way to go yet, Lee, but this is why this game, when you look at Liverpool's fixtures, when you look at Chelsea's fixtures, and yes, ours, we've got some good ones coming up, but this time last year, Fulham and West Ham and then Aston Villa, it wasn't good at all. So what's your prediction for the game, and then the momentum and keeping up with the Slots and the Marescas of the world?
Well, that's why these games are important. I think it's more important to win the games at home. You got to win at home. You got, listen, I don't want to upset Everton fans because they're on here, but if you can't beat Everton at home, you don't deserve to win the league. That's how it is. You know, you've got to go there and beat them. Listen, I get what everybody's saying and all that. I don't think it's been that bad. I'm not in a reality check and all that. We've lost 2 games. We've drawn the games that we shouldn't have done. But you've got to say at this moment in time, it pains me to say it, that Liverpool have been unbelievable. And if you look at it, Manchester City, Aston Villa and ourselves could turn around and go, wow, the Champions League took its toll playing week. And they bloody won every single game in that and all. So you can't even look at that. They're just having an exceptional time of it at the moment. But they were going to Everton on the weekend, and I don't care what anybody says, luck on their side again, because every other game was played. And with the wind as it is, we all know what the wind is. It's a leveller. Like that would have suited Everton more than it would have done Liverpool, and they might have got something from that game, you know. So they got a little bit of luck from that point of view. But for me, the one thing I will say is that Arsenal needed to win last Sunday, Sophie, and they didn't. And I do think under this manager and this team, I do think there's still another one of those games. And that's why I go to this game nervous if we don't take our chances and whatever. You look at the game against Monaco, as good as it was, weren't ruthless enough. And then you go on, and I just think that when the pressure really tells, the manager will make decisions like he did against Aston Villa last season, and we missed chances. So that's my worry, and that's my worry going into this game here. But I think that 2-0 I'm going for. But, you know, we could easily slip up. You know, if Everton get an early goal and we have, don't lie. You know, it's going to be a nightmare. But
I don't need any more agita before the.
No, I just like worry about these games, you know, and I'm glad, you know, that Liverpool are playing at the same time, because if Liverpool slip up, then it makes it even worse. You know, at least you've just got to concentrate on what we've got to do tomorrow.
Exactly.
And listen, if Liverpool go on what they're doing at this moment in time, you've got to hold your hands up and say, well, you know, well done. We're all in the same boat. We'll all be painful about it, but that is the way it is. And Chelsea should be up there anyway, guys. Look at the squad that they've got. Look at the players that they've got. They're playing 2 teams at this moment in time. They should be up there. Listen, Arsenal fans having a meltdown. It was 4 weeks ago. We drew it there, and everybody was saying, "Oh, we should have beaten Chelsea. We should have done this and that." Like, you know, there's long ways to go. And listen, we played Liverpool without our back 4 and without a lot of players. I'd love to go up to Anfield without their back 4, seeing what happens. You don't know what's going to happen, like, you know. But the one thing is you've got to do is, even if it's just keep in touch with them, like keep in touch with them, and a minute. That's why Sunday hurt me. That's why it hurt me Sunday, because you'd have gone 4 points. I know, like, people go, "Oh, they've got a game in hand." It's still 4 points. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, they lose the next one, it's 1 point. All of a sudden, like, you know, that was an opportunity last week. I think it was an opportunity missed, not only by ourselves, but Manchester City as well. So
I have a feeling that Liverpool will drop points to a crappy team, but they'll also, I reckon, I don't know why, but my Greek gut tells me that when they play Man United, they will lose. There's something about that game. I don't know. I've eyeballed it for a while. It's almost like Ruben's homecoming. He hasn't had one really yet. It could be, if he does beat City this weekend, I think people will be like, "Oh, but they're shite. It's like 1 in 10. There's going to be a seminal moment for Amorim, and I feel like it's going to be against Liverpool. Baz, I'm probably talking out my arse. That's fine. It makes me feel comfortable. Do Arsenal still have a shot at the title, and what's your prediction for the weekend?
Absolutely, Arsenal still have a shot at the title. Liverpool have still got 24 games left. I've watched a lot of football. I've never, ever seen anyone win the league in early December. Liverpool have been outstanding, deserve to be ahead, but the other week they were miles ahead, and Chelsea are what is it, 4 points or something behind them, albeit Liverpool have got a game in hand, whatever it is. So, of course, the Arsenal have just got to ride it out. Liverpool will have a couple of games where they drop points, and like Lee said, that was probably what last week will stick in your throat, because that was the opportunity to go, you haven't played, and we've clawed them points back again on you. We're not going anywhere. But there'll be another moment in the season, and the teams, it is right now, Liverpool are flying. Things are going well for them, and it is just a case of stay on the coattails. If it's still like this in the end of April, then it's a miracle. But it's December. So you've just got to stay in there. Wait till January, February. Champions League games, they've got to come to Goodison, and I love it. No, they've got to come to Goodison in February as well, and then we play them again. So there's a lot of football and all of that. In terms of tomorrow, I think I'm with Lee. I think I never like going against Everton, but Arsenal's win rating at home in 2024 is 81%. And it's probably higher than that of beating Everton in the Premier League at the Emirates. So I'm going to go 2-0 comfortable win for Arsenal. And I think, you know what? I think our manager would be delighted with that if it was only 2.
Oh, brilliant. Ped, what's your prediction?
Well, before I say my prediction, what I would say is I think it's time to paint over all those Klopp murals in Liverpool because he was clearly holding them back.
Yeah.
So it's time to wash your hands of that.
He wasn't all that.
No, he clearly was holding that club back. So paint over all those stupid pictures that are all over our city and that we have to see all the time. Some of them are sponsored by bloody German beer companies. Get rid of that. Get rid of all that first of all. Listen, we talked about me and Baz about this yesterday. Everton have to play in like literally 10-minute chunks of this game and just get through 10 minutes and 10 minutes. I was at the Emirates last season and for the last game of the season, and obviously it's never going to get any more pressurized for Arsenal than that day because obviously it was nothing for us and the pressure was all on you guys. And I suppose in a way that's the way we've got to approach it tomorrow, is that nobody thinks we're getting anything out of this game. You've got to win. Like, got to. So if Everton almost approach it like that and go, you know what, just relax, let the pressure all be on Arsenal and go that way. But saying all that, if you go 1-0 up, the game's finished. Because I just don't. You seen it? I don't know if you watched the game a couple of weeks ago at Old Trafford. We battered them for half an hour and ended up getting beat 4-0 because we actually in that game we were pushing forward. We were trying to play football. Can't score goals unless it's on a set piece. So. It's a really difficult one. You can't go if we do this, if we do that, if we play that formation. It's can we win fouls and can we get corners? It's a horrible way to watch football. It's why I can't be having it anymore. But if you guys score at any time in this game, you've won the game as far as I'm concerned. Which is so sad to think about as a football club, but that's genuinely as we are at the moment. If you score one, the game is over. So I'll go for a 1-0 win to Arsenal, probably in the last minute.
All right. We got 1-0. We got 2-0 from Lee. And Baz, your score was 2-0 as well. You were going with Lee's prediction. I'm going to go for a 3-1 to the Arsenal. So this has been brilliant. It's been a great chat. Don't forget, you guys, real quick, I just got to do this for our listeners. If you're looking for a gift this holiday season, go to ZENITH Coins, use code SQUAD15 to get 15% off your North Bank coin, your Arsenal coin, and your Clock End coin as well. And of course, don't forget, if you want to enter to win the Invincibles collection, which is a beautiful thing, email me, thehighburysquad@gmail.com with your best sad, rad, glad, Invincible story, and you could find yourself winning that too. And there's one more football prizes, ends on Tuesday the 17th. It's a match day hospitality for 2, Arsenal versus Ipswich, plus your name goes into the hat to win a signed shirt from either Perez, Calafiori, White, Gilberto. Calafiori, too busy signing shirts. We should play. We should play a little bit, Lee. That's for sure.
Yeah, get himself fit.
Yeah, get himself fit. Thanks to everyone in the chat. And also thank you to Ped and to Baz from Toffee TV. Please go follow these guys. What have you guys got coming up? Let the squaddies know.
When do we never have anything coming up? We never stop. We literally never stop. Next week, be big week next week, I think. Yeah. Be lots and lots to talk about next week. So if anyone just wants to come and watch another football club try and get optimistic about things, then maybe that'll be our week. Maybe next week will be our optimistic week.
Peak optimism next week.
As long as it's not your weekend, we don't mind you having next week. We're all right with that, right? And Mr. Judges, I'm sure you're going to be at the game tomorrow doing bits and bobs. What have you got coming up?
Yeah, got that. I've got a show with Dan later on. Obviously, talking about what this game means to us. Obviously, now and Kevin, so we'll be talking about that. Going to get to the game early tomorrow because I know they're doing some stuff tomorrow. So if you are going to the game, get in early to see what's going on and everything like that. And yeah, looking forward to the Kevin Campbell derby tomorrow. Like, I'm really looking forward to that, and hopefully Arsenal get the win, and then Everton go and do a madness and get on a run and get up that table and make those two boys up there very, very
absolutely, absolutely. And before I let you all go, Super Kev's sister Lorna has joined the chat, and I was just about to let everyone know this. Hi, Lorna, sending lots of love to you and the family. We hope you have a great day at the Arsenal tomorrow. And yes, we're very proud to announce the Highbury Squad that we have become official ambassadors for the Kevin Campbell Foundation. We will be doing everything in our power to support the foundation going forward and keeping Super Kev's legacy and legend alive. So I'm so honored that Kevin's family reached out, and we're exceptionally honored to be part of the foundation as ambassadors. And we promise to put our best foot forward to do whatever we can to help support you guys. And thanks for popping in, Lorna.
And I took that photo. I'm very honoured to have took that photo, like,
So Lee Judges always likes to let everyone know, and I love that he does. Lee, it's probably one of your finest moments as David Bailey.
It is my finest moment. To take that photo, and every time I see it, it makes me very proud, like,
You see, I use it a lot because it is the best picture, I think, of me and Super Kev together. There's no doubt about that. And please don't forget, you can donate if you go to the Kevin Campbell Foundation, and you can follow the foundation as well on Instagram, Kevin Campbell Foundation, and also on X at KJC Foundation. And it is there's so many great things coming up. There's an announcement coming up on Monday as well. And please keep following. And if you can contribute, that would be wonderful as well. All right. Thanks so much, everybody. Good luck to the Arsenal tomorrow. Have a wonderful day. Don't forget to get in a little bit early because there are some special bits happening. Ped, Baz, love you guys. Don't wish you any luck tomorrow, but wish you all the luck in the world always. And Mr. Judges, have a wonderful day. Thank you, as always, for jumping on the show. Really appreciate you. And remember the rules here at Highbury Squad. Don't forget to tell your loved ones you love them. And we appreciate you. Enjoy the Kevin Campbell derby. We miss him every single day. This one, Super Kev's for you.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.